Well, greetings all. It is we're almost at the end of another week. It is what we're calling now Anime Thursday or Thursday Anime. We try to bring you some news and a little bit of discussion on what's going on in the anime manga world. As we're trying to expand our channel out, and because there's a lot of news out there, and we're trying to focus it in certain places so we'll be able to bring this to you. I mean, this is technically the first full week of October. We're in the Halloween season, or however you want to call it. They have different names for there because they don't want to call it Halloween, and that's something else on another show. But like I said, we've dedicated Thursday at least one to two shows toward anime and manga, what's going on in Japan, what's coming over here. Today's episode, we got not one, but two shows that two anime series that are controversial, that are getting new seasons. One of them is going to have a live action for the holidays on there. And the other one has a bit of a separate controversy, as a YouTuber out there is getting some doxing going on, and we'll be discussing that. It's gone to the point where we've gone to legal, and I hope he's doing well, because he was, what happened over the weekend was just insane. We are going to discuss a couple other things, here and there, but we're going to start off with this. And this article came out at the beginning of the month of October. And we grabbed this off of Otaku USA magazine, Danica Davison. But this is something we've discussed before on this channel. It's been a while since we're on there. It is basically, if you haven't seen Assassination Classroom, which happens to be a really, really good anime. And, the manga also is very, very good. And the thing about it is, we've heard people criticize it without even knowing what's in the anime itself. They point out that there are weapons in here, guns and stuff like that, but not realizing it, and we'll bring this out so that these guns can only harm one particular person in this series, and it happens to be an alien. But now we're seeing that there's push for this to be banned again, that basically, if it's in the grammar school, something like this shouldn't be in the grammar school. Middle school to high school, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, mostly it should be in a high school setting, as far as in the libraries itself. But let's read into this. And it's mom claims high schoolers' brains can't handle assassination. Classroom calls for ban. But see, this is the thing. This is a political stance, because they always say, "Oh, the kids can't handle it. The kids can't handle it." There's a lot of stuff on TV now, and we're talking American television, that kids are watching, all that. Simpsons, Family Guy, Big Mouth, all these, and nobody puts major complaints up about those. They jump at the Japanese, saying, "Oh, it's all CP, or it's all ultra violent," stuff like that. Remember this, and I'll put this perspective as we start to read this. In every genre, as far as entertainment goes, there's stuff for children and there's stuff for adults. Even in anime and manga, there are stuff made for kids and adults both ways on here, and it should be respected that way. But there are those out there that will sit and criticize it, just like what's happening to the particular YouTuber, that basically he's reviewing a certain one, and they say, "Oh, it's CP, look at what the scene is." But did you watch it actually, and what happened? No, you didn't. You don't understand what the show is. So let's read this. In the latest news for manga bans or attempted bans, Horry County schools, before we go any further, it's not a ban, it's just a removal from the curriculum. Just to think about this, a removal from the libraries. You can go out and buy this separately. Let's continue. Horry County schools in South Carolina pull the whole Assassination Classroom manga series after a single parent complained. One parent. Just one parent. This ain't the whole community that asked for this to be removed. It was just one person. The series is being looked over by schools, a process that said takes up to 30 days. After that, the schools will decide whether to return Assassination Classroom or keep it off the shelves. Again, I said, if this is in the high school, it's okay. If it's in middle school, there's a question mark there. But if it's in grammar school libraries, no, it should not be there. This all started when Jennifer Hannigan got upset after her high school daughter, well, there are explanations right there. It is in high school. High school daughter checked out Assassination Classroom from the library at her school. Even if I didn't have children, I would not want a child to read the book, Hannigan remarked. She took offense to the manga's violence, as well as the fact that it showed lingerie. Yeah, it's underwear, bikinis, all that stuff. We all wear that. We wear underwear, lingerie. Women wear lingerie, men wear underwear. It happens. In the story, which is pretty out there science fiction comedy, students have to assassinate an alien who's going to destroy the whole Earth. That the alien also happens to be posing as their teacher, and before the series is over, he turns out to be a good teacher. And see the whole premise. The alien wants to teach. That's all he wants to do. But the thing about it is, there is, and I don't want to give this away, there is a backstory to the whole situation and the reason why. But the thing is that all the violence they're talking about is only against the alien teacher. And the weapons that they're using can only inflict harm to the alien creature. It doesn't hurt human beings. It doesn't hurt animals. It doesn't hurt anyone other than... And you may say to yourself, well, there was an explosive... Yes, but the alien protected the child. Took the hit of the explosion and protected the child. Hannigan continued, in the book, they have several chapters that they're telling you a killing is in the title of some nature. There are also several pages where there are handguns, rifles, knives, and potions, and it talks about killing in the pages. Can only inflict damage to the alien. The local article on this case describes Hannigan as flipping through the pages, but did not say if she had read the whole book. Again, this is someone, I guarantee you, she heard it from someone else, heard the plot line, did not read it for herself. It happens to be a good nature series because the alien is good to these kids. He's there to teach them. He helps them with their problems. In turn, the Japan and the other countries have tasked these children to destroy this creature because he threatens to destroy the Earth. Hannigan also indicated she believes that Assassination Classroom is more than what young people, including high schoolers, brains can handle. Please. As she puts in, Assassination Classroom is rated Teen Plus by Viz Media. Yes, it is. It's teen. There's nothing wrong with this. Assassination Classroom is the most banned manga in America. It's up there. Otaku USA recently covered another manga ban in Brevard County, Florida, that went after Sasuke and Miyano. A parent who had not read Sasuke and Miyano filed a complaint that got pulled from the district at least 8 years ago. Otaku USA also talked with a board school member and reviewer at Brevard who didn't agree with Sasuke and Miyano ban. We'll have to see what happens with Assassination Classroom in Horror County. Now, the thing is, with Sasuke and Miyano, that is a bit of a line. Now, it's not that bad, but the subject matter, in a way, you could leave it in the high school, but it is definitely absolutely not middle school and grade school. Because there is talk of... there are talks of two young men that they sort of fall in amorous of themselves, to that situation. But It's there are certain mangas that are fine line that what the thing about it is, and I'll tell you some of the what they call the homosexual ones that mostly it's men, which they don't complain too much about. It was about the the girls in some of these anime, but when it comes to the male ones, a lot of those are more soap opera-ish. As I would, put for anyone who doesn't understand about some of these mangas, there are other terminologies for them, rom-coms and stuff like that. But in the case of this, I would, say to anyone that's not familiar with this is more like a soap opera-ish that is more geared to girls and women. Because you'll find that stuff like this, you'll see someone, from the gay community may read this, but not as often. But you'll see more women that they'll pick something up like this. There's many titles, many animes, and it does very well. There is a market for it, but it's not mostly in the youth market. A lot of these are more geared toward adult women to that situation, and some older teens in the as far as females as well. But as far as Assassination Classroom, of all the anime that's out there in the world, I mean, that you can discuss, there's stuff out there that's more ultra violent. You can go talk about, let's see, where could we throw this in? We could say Berserk, and Berserk has been popular with a lot of youth. I mean, Berserk is from my youth era, as far as that, and we were picking that up, when we were young, and there are many others on there. You talk about Kite, you could talk about Mad Dog, you could talk about, the list goes on and on. There's whole variations on there. But when you hear that one person, if it was like a dozen parents, two dozen parents, I could see where there are parents out there that say, well, maybe it shouldn't be there. But if one person's sitting there, no, this shouldn't be here because it has guns in it and it has knives and stuff like that, and you just flip through it and you don't realize. What is as far as this? This is not educating kids to use weapons. This is kids that have been tasked, and these are kids that are that they've been shunned in their school, that they're outsiders in a way. These are people that that they're not given the time of day, and they're put into one class, and they have their own problems and issues, and they've been given the task by the world to save the world from this alien, but the alien wants to teach them good things. It's nothing to do with, that they're saying, oh, you got to kill the teacher. No, this teacher is taken to the point and says, yeah, I'm going to destroy the world unless you let me teach these kids. And what is he teaching them? He's teaching them all the basic stuff. Stuff that kids should be learning. And then outside they have their issues, and he helps them along. I mean, this is a kind, gentle alien, even though he wants to destroy the world, and he has the ability to it, but he's kind to these children. I mean, this is a comedy. This is one of many comedies that are out there. And people will see a scene or hear about a scene and say, no, we can't have that. Sit down and read it with your child. See if you enjoy it as well. Or watch the anime. The anime will bring it out for you. And it happens to be fun. Trust me, this is, when you look to the perspective, and I'm going to ask this from that parent. Does your child watch The Simpsons, American Dad, Family Guy, Futurama? Do they watch anything on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim? Do they watch anything, on Netflix like Big Mouth? See, all this doesn't get criticized, but when it, especially something called Cuties, that's the same thing too, which is, I believe, is no longer on Netflix. But you don't hear the major criticism. You only hear the criticism from us. that this happens. They said, well, there's not really nudity in all those shows. I said, have you watched them? Have you looked at? Yeah, there is. It comes up every once in a while as a joke. Bart Simpson showing his butt every once in a while. You have Peter always sticking Meg's head in his butt and farting in her face. Yeah, it's funny and stuff like that. But if it wasn't in a Japanese anime, would you approve of it?
俺がおならしただよ。彼がおならした。滑稽ね。
No, this is the hypocrisy to this situation. There are some great manga out there. There are some great anime out there. But you have the push on this in the West that it should be censored or it should be banned. It shouldn't exist. It should not be sold in this country. But remember, we have a constitution. And technically, from a perspective, which basically you're hearing from Japan that they want to put these in the archives, the national archives, like here, like we have the Smithsonian, that anime and manga are artwork and should be treated that way. People say, it's just a cartoon. No, it is a piece of work of art. These people have taken time to draw this and put this out, and some of it is beautiful and it's fantastic. There's some great stuff out there. But let's move on. Let's move out of this. One of the major things that I want to talk about, and going on a little bit more on how the censorship comes in or stuff that's controversial, is there are a lot of shows that are starting to get either a second, third, or fourth season in their series. And they happen to be really good series. Now, one of them, which you can catch on High Dive, just finished its second season. And it's at the end of November. You'll be able to catch, and I believe it's Amazon has gotten the rights, the worldwide rights to this. There is a live action version, which I believe probably most likely will work very well because of the subject matter to it. And what we're talking about is Oshinoko. It's been announced that Oshinoko will go on to a season 3. Now, the controversy, you've heard it, the situation about brother and sister situation. There's been a lot, this season, there's been a lot of anime out there that has a brother-sister relationship sort of on there. But it's not, how can I put this? This is things that you will see in the mainstream in Hollywood. Stuff like this does happen in Hollywood. And
No, that never happened.
Yeah, sure. There have been several stories out there where kissing cousins. You hear kissing cousins or brother and sister. As far as religiously, and they say no, that can't happen. It's a sin. It's taboo. Yes, but it does happen. You can't hide from that. It's not glorifying to the situation. It's just a story. It's a fictitious story that these are fantasy characters that don't exist. Okay? But this is the thing, is that people jump on that part of it, but not getting the whole story. Now, Oshinoko, if you're familiar with the story, it's a pop diva story about a pop diva that gets pregnant, and an Aberrant fan who happens to be her doctor gets the chance to handle the case. But before he's able to help with the birth, he's murdered mysteriously. And he's reincarnated as one of the pop diva's children. The second child happens to be a girl who cared a lot for that doctor, and she's also reincarnated as the second child. In the meanwhile, to the situation as their children, their mother is brutally murdered while they were children. Now, why has this happened? Well, that's the mystery that revolves around this series. Yes, it has a mystery part of the element, which, as the doctor who's growing up as one of her children, is trying to flush out who's responsible for this. As he's becoming an actor, and his sister is becoming a pop diva star as well, but their true identities are being hidden by the wife of the agent to the particular who has mysteriously disappeared also as well, to the agent of the mother of the pop diva singer. Yeah, it gets a little confusing at points, but that's the major premise of the situation, and it happens to be a very good drama. This could be considered as a soap opera, a real true soap opera. If you saw this as an American Idol, like an All My Children or Ryan's Hope type situation, and you have this kind of a situation, you would say, oh God, this is a good soap opera. And now we are going to go into, and we got a teaser of the third one, which people will want to go in. And like I said, there's still a lot to go on this. There's still a lot of controversy to this series. But I expect it to go pretty well, especially the live action. I believe the live action will go pretty well, because one thing, even on this side of the world in the West, they love their pop singers from Korea and Japan. They do love it. Here in New York, we get concerts on the basis. Korean, what we call the Korean town, which is like near Madison Square Garden. There's like a whole little section where they're like restaurants and shops that are Korean driven. Some good food out there too. If you ever come to New York, check out that section. The Korean barbecues are fantastic. You always see posters hanging up when pop stars are in town, if they're playing over at Madison Square Garden. It's still popular. It's still very popular. Still, even if you go down to Chinatown. Remember, New York was one of the central focal point for this type of entertainment, for anime, manga, pop singers, pop divas, and stuff like that. And I'm talking about from Asia. Any Asian content on there. We were introduced to, in fact, tons of great movies like Kung Fu Hustle, which was a great movie, and Kung Fu Soccer. All those movies that came out, the comedies and stuff, the dramas. That's all popular as far as that. And remember, back in the 70s and getting into cable TV into the 80s and 90s, you had the Japanese and the Korean channels that were pushed into the UHF brand, and also on cable TV as well. And still to this day, they're still running. But we'll look forward to Oshinoko Season 3 probably in another year. November 28th is going to be, I believe, let's see, yeah, it's an 8-episode arc globally, November 28th. And there's also a sequel film which will open in Japan as well on December 20th. Now, the second show that basically it's out there, which this one had a rough time as far as its critics. Not as rough as I would say some of the others, like Redo the Healer, Goblin Slayer, and a couple of others that just like literally those on Twitter or X, however you want to call it, were slamming these anime and calling them CP or drape, or a lot of nudity or stuff like to that nature, slavery, all these subject matters that come to port. But you got to remember, yes, it's animated, but a lot of these are not made for kids. It's made for adults. Some teens will pick this up. Yeah, obviously they can. They can make that decision. I wouldn't play it for young children. It shouldn't be, but there's some great stuff out there for young children. I think one day I'll do like a top 10 or top 5, whatever, that some stuff that kids should be watching, young kids on there. But like I said, the second show that has gotten a lot of really controversial stuff and I said this should have been made a long time ago, because if you're familiar with like Sailor Moon and stuff like that, and Robot Chicken has made fun of Sailor Moon. You had that situation where Sailor Moon does her transformation, and the one of the demons gets a bit excited. We could say that here. And it's like, oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm really covering himself up. I'm really sorry. It's like, we're not going to fight now. That kind of situation, which is really funny. But in this case, when you have this particular series, it's gone under several titles. I Admire Magical Girls, or Gushing Over Magical Girls, as what has been called. Well, it's been a bit. And the way we left off, we said that we would get a season 2, hopefully. And guess what? Yes, we are getting a season 2 of Gushing Magical Girls. Now, this series was released back early in January, and it was available in not 1, not 2, but 3 varying degrees of censorship. Yes, it gets cringy, but the story is good. That's the one thing about that and this is one of the things that just basically, how can I put it? Some of the stuff in there, it's like you wouldn't show that to kids. Yeah, obviously, even though it's cute. Note, there are really no male characters in the series. It's mostly female. It's similar to I Killed 300 Slimes and Leveled Up, I think that's what it's called, which is getting another season as well. And that had a little bit of minor fan service on certain scenes on there, but it wasn't that bad at all to be to the point where it's like, oh, no. But this one, I could say that even in the manga itself, it does have a couple of cringy things in there on a constant, but not in every episode. Gets close on certain, the ones that don't have it, and gets close on there as well. But the main premise is about one girl who loves, she's one of these geeks that basically loves magical girls, like a Sailor Moon type situation. And then she has been given the gift to join up her beloved magical girls, but as a villain. She's so over the top. What's the old saying? You're a hero. You die a hero, or you live long enough to be the villain. And this is where we come to that point. And this is what happens. And she, it's like she becomes excited to the point where, there's some spanking and there's some stuff in there that's just like really off the hook at certain points. Not to where the point, people say, well, this is hentai. No, it's not hentai. Trust me. Sit down and watch Bible Black for about a couple of episodes, and you'll see the difference between that. Now, you say, well, maybe it's close to Redo the Healer. No, it's not close to Redo the Healer either. Well, at least not in season 1. But as far as right now, we are getting a season 2 on that. The animation is good. The characters are really well thought out. The scripting is very good as well. I haven't seen an English dub on it, so I don't know if they are going to do an English dub. This is on, I believe is it on High Dive? I believe it. Yeah, it's on High Dive. Yes, you can watch it. Season 1 is available on High Dive. Subscription on there, and I believe you can get it off of Amazon now these days. But please note that it is probably going to get a DVD. It's going to get a Blu-ray release. That some of the sites, if you might catch it, there are 3 versions of it as far as censorship. I've seen the uncut version as far as that, and it's not for everybody. And I'll tell you, if you're not into something of this nature, don't watch it. Don't go out and watch it. I'm not encouraging you out to go out and watch it. But if you enjoy a good comedic, something of this nature, that you're familiar with Sailor Moon, if you love Konosuba, remember, Konosuba goes over the top. as far as that. And it's a lot of fun and stuff like that. And in a way, Gushing Magical Girls is over the top as far as, subject matter. And it makes fun of the tropes of the Sailor Moon type situation on there. It's a comedic sense to the point. And to the point where there have been many anime where one of the character happens to be an anime manga fan, and they're way over the top. We've seen this on many different series as far as that. But this story takes it to a different level, where the person becomes a villain to the characters that she's devoted to. So we'll keep an eye out for this when the second season is available. There is no actual date. We'll probably looking for at least maybe fall 2025 or into winter 2026, to that nature, depending on if they've actually started. Now, finally, before we get into the last story on there, and I got to talk about this. There's some good stuff anime out there. If you haven't caught anything on there, we have on Netflix. We got Rama Half, concerning what's come out this past week. Rama Half is out on Netflix, and the first episode happens to be good. It is dropping week to week, so they're not dropping it all in one time. They're both in Japanese and English. Dub is available for this series. In fact, actually, a lot of the stuff that's been dropping on Netflix right now, on most of the newer shows, are dropping week to week with both dubs available. There are other sites that are playing it as far as a Japanese dub only, but I think that's going to change the next couple of weeks. Dump the both versions as far as the language on there, and multiple language actually, to that situation, because that's the way it should be. Now, the other series, which brings up the topic of the YouTubers, another series called Dan Da Dan Dan, or however you pronounce that, which I caught the first episode over the weekend. And it happens to be good. It happens to be really, really good. It brings sort of the hint of Fooly Cooly in certain ways. If you like I'm talking the original Fooly Cooly series. Sort of brings a little bit of that into the nature, and a couple of other series. There is a scene, and I'm going to tell you this straight out, and if you know what Dan Da Dan Dan is about, it's about two young people in school, and they sort of have an argument because they're into two different controversial dramas. One believes in UFOs, the other one believes in spirits and ghosts. So they make a bet with each other, and the UFO nerd, as I would say, sends the female character to go look at this place, and said, well, this is where normally people said they've seen UFOs. And for him, vice versa, he's sent to somewhere where there's supposedly ghosts and spirits. Now, this turns out tragic for both of them, as they both find out that both do exist. And there is a scene where basically she's captured by aliens, and they want to do some nasty things to her. They want to procreate. Let's put it this way. That's the word, procreate with her. Let's put it that way. And the device they have is kind of something, let's say, it will be painful. But it doesn't happen because basically they're interrupted by a phone call on her phone by her friend, who happens to be possessed by some sort of ghostly figure, and jumps through the phone and ends up attacking the aliens, and that's all over. Sorry to give it away that way, but it is hysterical. It is hysterical, the scene itself. It's really, really good. And in the manga, yeah, there's some issues as far as that. Now, and the reason why we bring this up, there is a reviewer out there. His name's Chibli Reviews. Really good. Go give him some love. Go give him, subscribe to him on there. Check out his videos. And he gives a good perspective. He's really, really, when it comes to talking about anime and manga, the detailing and the talking about what is going on, He happens to be one of the big channels out there that basically has a good handle. As young as he is a good handle to the situation. But now what has happened is that there's those out there who has criticized them, and they've got to the point where they've been doxing him, attacking him, threatening his family, threatening his life, wishing that he would self-terminate himself, all this bad nature. And it's gotten really, really bad to the point where they're now hacking into his old accounts and switching. He had a DeviantArt account, and they've switched out the pictures and put in CP pictures in there. Which, according to Legal Bites, what they did is against the law. And you notice that they found CP pictures to put in there. Which that violates the law too of having that. You have that in your computer and transferring it into a website. That's against the law. They violate the law. But see, now Ghibli has to go via the legal way to try to stop this. And it's a dangerous situation because they're doxing the grave of his dead brother, because I guess he lost a brother. I don't have the whole story on that. They've doxed his home. They're doxing him all over the internet. And what is it all for? Just because he talked about this particular series? I mean, and we said it in the assassination classroom situation. There are people. There are some strange people in the world that just don't understand anime. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. But you don't sit there and start making lies up and calling it all CP, sexualization, and stuff like that. I mean, we have that video out. Actually, it's out today about the Dragon Quest situation and how people have criticized, the creators for speaking out on it. Which now the video has been pulled. Not my video. My video is still up as far as right now. And and I'm going to be using fair use. If I get a hit on it, I'm going to use fair use on that, because I'm just discussing the situation. But this is the censorship that they want to do to this situation. These are people, the people that criticize this and they say it's all this. Notice what they're doing. Notice the attacks that they're doing. That they go out and find pictures of children, and that. Technically, you can be arrested for if that's found on your computer or on your phone. And they start to put it in someone's account. The hacking alone is a major issue. But putting pictures of that's a bigger issue. But I hope he gets this resolved. Because this is something that's been going on for a long time on YouTube, Twitter, in the social media circuit. As far as that, people that just doesn't understand the industry, and these are the same people that don't criticize the West version of things. They don't criticize The Simpsons, and I said this before. They don't criticize The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, Futurama, Big Mouth, Brickleberry. I can go on and on and on any series that comes out. And these are the same people that said that Cuties is okay. In fact, it's no longer on Netflix. I mean, they've already pulled the series. I mean, the movie already. But that is an issue, and I still say to this day, where are all the audition tapes? Who has the hold on the audition tape? Were they erased, or are they just lingering out there on the dark web? Think about that for just a moment, because they say, "Well, no, it's they just tried to make a note there." You could have done it a lot better than the way they handled it. Could have been edited in a way that basically just you don't show what you showed. It's not good, or you used older teen girls over the age of 18, because there are plenty of girls over the age of 18. All you got to do is look at the adult porn industry that look like very young girls. And still then, that would be an issue. It just, to do something of that nature, and they praise this director. Oh, she's because of the color of her skin. But yet, this was an issue. And nobody, came across and says, this shouldn't be here. This should not be on the internet. Edit it down, change it around, show the disgust in the audience of the situation. You can have the movie and don't have to show the dancing the way they did. But, of course, it wasn't done that way. But still, we get calls from many different countries to shut down the anime. You get calls on this. In the West, we got the United Nations who's going after anime and manga. This is an organization that needs to go away because basically, their human rights division, the ones that are handling it, the ones that are on the committee are the worst violators of human rights. China, North Korea, Russia, Iran. I mean, talk about calling the kettle black, to the situation that you have the worst violators, but they're on the committees against what they're doing. And these governments are responsible for those situations. But meanwhile, they're going after cartoon girls, And the thing, and again, I'll keep saying this. You notice that they go after the girls, the women in these characters in these shows. They have no problem with the men in most cases, especially if they're LGBT community or if they're showing a lot of skin to that point. Not a problem at all. But when it comes to women in those stories, those characters, you got High School D&D, the High School of the Dead, and many others that are a bit fan service type. They'll slam. They'll say, let's get rid of it. Or series like Death Note, which it's been banned in Russia because somebody eliminated themselves. But it had nothing to do with the series. The person was depressed. This is this. What's the old song? The song remains the same. This is what we've been hearing for many decades now. The attack on entertainment, television, and movies, video games, and music. We've had lawsuits where people have blamed the deaths of their children on a lot of this media. But when you have situations like what happened on TikTok, where kids were actually doing these things that basically cutting their hair off or doing these crazy stunts and stuff like that, nobody is going to put charges on here. I mean, even though there have been, but nobody's going way out of their way, these groups and stuff like that, way out of their way to basically say, hey, TikTok, you can't continue to put this into your algorithm. You need to do like everyone else and start cutting them out. As soon as they air, get rid of it immediately. This should not be happening. But Chibli, we hope everything works out for you. We'll send prayers to you and your family to the situation. This is something a YouTuber or social media content creator should not be going through. Especially a young guy like him. I mean, back in my day, we've had our situations with a lot of, before the internet, we were inundated with people that would, literally, ring the phone off the hook as far at our studios where we work at, and they were just crazy, and they sent letters, insane letters into the network and stuff like that. And it just was on and on and on. Now in the internet era, now they're using the social media to do this. It hasn't stopped, and it won't. So we got Oshinoko season 3 coming. We got Gushing Magical Girl season 2. Be sure to check out Ramahalf Dan 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 Dan. Also Uzumaki, which I just saw the second part the other night, which was really, really good. If you haven't caught this on Toonami yet, or if you have Max, you can watch it immediately the next day on Max. I believe it's like as early as 9 a.m. on Max. It happens to be a really good. They did a nice job as far as the animation works and stuff like that. Is really bizarre. If you're into the horror and the Junto Ito stuff, this is a good adaptation. Do check it out. We have a couple of other series that are coming forward. About another week, I believe we got Dragon Ball, Damia that's coming out. We got Arafuda, season, what is it, 3 or 4? 3 or 4 on that. No, it's 3. Arafuda from Commonplace to World's Strongest, which we've been waiting for quite some time now. There's a couple of other series that are also coming as well. I think there's a dungeon one there are a couple of dungeon ones that are coming out. There's Demon Lord retried. Technically it's not really a season 2, it's a reboot. That's also coming out as well. So comment, let me know what your thoughts about this, what we discussed today. Like to hear on there. Like to hear about Assassination Classroom, Oshinoko, Gushing Magical Girls, the Ghibli review situation. So let me know on there. Don't forget to share this video, hit that like, and make sure hit that subscription. It does help us. Doesn't matter what social media platform you're on. If you're on Rumble, if you're on Odyssey, if you're on YouTube, we do apologize to our BitChute fans out there. We've been having a bit of an issue, but we're trying to resolve it. We're not certain what's going on. We're just having problems uploading, so we just got to figure out what's going on there. But we'll get back to you as soon as we know. But do subscribe to our other social media platforms, and you'll get the videos that you want to see. We try to do our best to keep them up. And of course, thanks to all of you who have clicked on this video. There are thousands of videos you could have clicked on, but you clicked on mine. And we really, here at Cuticast TV, Man with the Show, we really do appreciate it. So until next time, have a good weekend. Thank you for checking out all of our other videos here this week. We have a lot coming next week. More on the Adams situation. We have a couple of stories that we're working on from New York premise, stuff on schooling, to old laws that should be abolished here in New York, and we'll discuss that when we come across it. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel, as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are 2 ways, listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop, where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.
Fuck all what you think, bitch.